All right, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Joe Reichel is in the studio from Damage Control Services. He's here to talk about what he does for a living to make people's homes back to normal after they've been damaged. The phone number to call while Joe is here is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, which is 352-622-WOCA. And in the course of the show, we'll give you Joe's number and website and all that. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful.
I saw a very disturbing video. I have to ask you about it.
Okay.
It was out of Arkansas, and I saw it yesterday.
I was going to say I wasn't in any videos that I know of.
And if I was, I wish I was. No, if it was disturbing, I won't. No. Now it was April 1st, so I hope it wasn't an April Fool's joke, because otherwise it makes me look silly. But it looked very real. It looked like what the caption said. It said that an oil pipeline broke in Arkansas.
I saw that this morning.
Okay, so that was real. All right. Now there was one home in particular. I'm really overmodulating here. I don't know why. There was one home in particular.
It's better than undermodulating.
That's right, as opposed to under. Some of that oil was just flowing down the street, obviously creating a problem for their water retention stuff. But there was one house that looked like it was getting hit bad. There was probably oil in the house from what it looked like. Now, I'm guessing, and here's where the question comes for you, that if oil has damaged your house, this is a whole new set of circumstances that most damage control people wouldn't be able to draw any experience. You don't have this happen very often.
Yeah, I'm not sure what type of a claim that would be, but it definitely would be a disaster.
But I was thinking that if there's an Exxon behind that oil or a BP, that there's probably no problem finding money to make things right.
Yeah, there would definitely be someone responsible, and they would have to take care of the damages, but first would be going in and trying to clean up or stop further damage.
Right. That would be the first thing.
That would be the first thing. Keep the oil from coming in, and I saw the pictures where it was flowing down the street, kind of into the right through the houses and stuff. So that is a tragic.
Did you get the sense that it was very smelly too?
Well, oil does have an odor to it.
Because I heard that
in
one of the videos. Somebody said, boy, it really stinks. I couldn't imagine what it smelled like, because I guess I've never been around that large amount of oil. Well,
have you ever been where they're putting down a new blacktop surface?
Oh, yeah. Is that the smell?
Sort of. It's a heavy chemical, a heavy chemical odor. So,
all right. So and the other part of my wondered about, and this, again, with controlling damage, if there's oil or any toxic substance flowing across your lawn and now it's permeated into your soil, do you help put that back to normal? Do you scoop up all the dirt and bring in new dirt or something?
Well, it really depends. There would be a whole protocol to follow. I've never been involved in any environmental disasters like that, but I'm sure that depending on the situation, there would be different protocols to follow as far as how to clean it up. There are different companies, and one that I've met with, and they do environmental restoration. So my first step would be calling him and getting him in, and they have products that they've put through testing in order to, I don't know the correct word, rejuvenate or reclaim.
Yeah, right.
Areas that are contaminated like that. So,
does the process of putting out a fire, when the fire department puts out a fire, does the water or whatever chemical they might use, does that present the problem for you that has to be fixed?
Well, yeah, a lot of times when there is a fire, there's just as much water damage as there is smoke and soot damage or burn. So, one of the first things, we go there and we board up or, protect further damage. But then when the actual restoration part of it starts to happen, we've been pulling ceilings down and the insulation is soaking wet, and the trusses now have some mold on them. So there's always a dry out period depending on the type of fire or disaster. So water can be just as much cause just as much devastation as a fire whenever the firemen are putting out a fire. So, and as one thing, like I said, as far as boarding up, there's windows that are broken, to get the smoke out.
Yeah, right.
The firemen bust in the door usually
Right.
in order to,
Right.
so, depending on the situation, sometimes there's damage, and that's their training. It's
Right,
not that
right,
they're
right.
intentionally
Oh,
doing
sure. Well, they got to
damage,
do their job.
well, they go in and they'll pull areas of the ceiling down to make sure that that it hasn't
yeah.
gone up into the ceiling. Fire hasn't gotten in the ceiling, so they'll pull drywall down and like I said, bust windows or open up walls as far as pulling the drywall off
Right,
in order
right.
to make sure that there is no fire. So they don't have a reflare. Where the fire kicks back up.
What was you posted a photo on Facebook? It looked like there was some water damage in a warehouse somewhere.
Water in a warehouse, yeah, a couple inches of water. So
And was that a natural water? Was it a pipeline? What happened?
yeah, they had some water get in there. We had to get it all cleaned up. So didn't cause any real damage.
Oh,
but
really?
No.
Just a lot of water.
A lot of water.
Now, what if we had a flood, like a 2-inch flood or whatever, and we had a shop vac that was capable of sucking up water?
Mm-hmm.
We get the water up right away, and it looks like we got it. It looks like there's no damage. Is it possible that there's something that's soaked in somewhere that we can't see? And
Well, see, here's the thing. Whenever, like for example, if your carpet gets wet, in order for us to properly dry out a structure, we'll come in. If it's carpet with padding, for example, we take the padding out because you're not going to get the padding dry. There's no way to get that padding with the
just
carpet.
doesn't dry out, huh?
It doesn't dry out, not fast enough and in good enough time, because it's like a sponge. It just holds the water. No matter what you do, I mean, we have commercial grade extractors, and the protocol is to pull the pad. So if you can save the carpet, that's what we want to do. We want to cause less stress to the homeowner. So we go in and we pull the carpet back. We take the pad out, extract the carpet, and get the fans and the dehumidifiers in there to start drying. A lot of times homeowners think that they're able to just use a shop vac or something like that, and sometimes they can. You need to be cautious in situations like that. Make sure that there's no water, for example, under the walls, or even though the carpet feels, the carpet is dry, your pad is still wet. So that's just sitting there.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And
that's not good.
no, it's not good.
Especially if you have a wood floor under that.
Well, even a concrete floor, because then you do run the risk of mold growth.
Yeah.
If it doesn't get dried out fast enough. 12 to 48 hours, under the right circumstances, mold can start to grow. So, you need to make sure that it is dried properly, and that's where, having, air circulation and dehumidification, get the equipment set up, get the air flowing and getting it dried out is very important.
That's what I should get, a dehumidifier. And let me tell you what I did. I had a headache, okay? So before I went out to my car and I said, I don't want to do anything. I'm just going to lie back in my seat and just try to get rid of the headache right here. I fell asleep, my phone rang in my pocket. I pulled out my phone, yeah, okay, thanks. And instead of putting it in my pocket, I put it in the console, which is where I had a cup of coffee, still filled with coffee.
So you put the phone in the
I had coffee damage to my cell phone, and it now continuously vibrates whenever I talk or try to use it. Just constantly vibrates.
Dehumidifier is probably not going to help you.
You don't think it's going to get the... And I tried everything. Somebody told me you stick it in rice.
Did you try that?
I tried it.
Well, it's sort of helped it, right?
No.
Oh.
No, it just keeps vibrating. See if I turn it on.
Well, water damage is...
If you can hear that.
Yeah, I can hear it. Water damage is hard on phones. They don't last too well with water damage.
Well, see,
water is one of the... people don't realize that how devastating water can be, when you have a disaster. It's just a little water. But, everything that's wood or everything touching it needs to be removed. If you have furniture, it can cause stains in the carpet, and then you got to replace the carpet. So, there's a lot of things that happen whenever, there is a water leak or a water loss.
This probably wouldn't apply to what you do, but if somebody spills like a sugary drink, like Coca-Cola, Obviously, it's going to be sticky. By the way, did you ever hear this, that on stages where there are going to be dancers, they will literally mop the floor with Coca-Cola, let it dry so that it's not so slippery?
I did not know that, but there are products that are out there that we have access to for areas where there are a lot of slip and fall accidents.
Really?
So yeah,
So
there's
something better than Coca-Cola.
better than Coca-Cola. This is a product that's guaranteed to eliminate slip and fall hazards. So
That's a good thing to have. I actually had that situation in my place.
yeah, there's a lot of hotels where they have like their lobbies are the granite or the marble flooring. It's a really smooth surface. They'll
Wow.
put this down in order to keep their loss.
This is an area we've not discussed before.
We haven't.
Could we call you and have you apply that to our floors?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing to know. I actually have this problem. I have it in my kitchen and I have it in the bathroom.
Is it a tile floor?
Tiles,
or-
both are
okay.
tiles, same exact kind of tile, nice tile. But here's what happens: my dog drinks her water in the kitchen, and it just is not neat.
You need to get a little rug for her.
A little
She can
bit,
wipe her paws off.
Little bit, well, that's what we have. But if you miss it, if you just miss it, and there's some water, it becomes really slippery.
Yeah,
I mean-
that's one thing. A lot of times when we're dealing with a homeowner trying to pick out the best flooring, I'm working with one right now, and she wanted to. She showed me a tile that was so rough, and she wanted it so that it wasn't a slip and fall hazard in the kitchen. And,
Right.
it's one of those things. If one of her grandkids falls in the kitchen, they're going to skin their knees up. I mean, it's
Or worse,
that
bump their head or
that
something.
coarse. It's like an outside tile. So we need to, a lot of times that's the role we play, is helping homeowners to pick the right products when they are rebuilding or putting things back.
Right.
Make sure that it's not a tile that, like you're talking about, that is going to create a possible hazard. Making sure it's in the right areas, of the home, so it's not where there is water and things that are going to be causing problems.
Now, is there a name for the product that you apply, or do you want to say it, or is it more than one, or?
It's brand new that we're working with, and I'm not even
Okay.
really.
But I mean, is there a generic word for it? Do you just call it anti-slip? And if we call you, we say, "Hey, Joe, what's that stuff you put on the floor?"
that would be a perfect. Yeah, I'd have to get more information on it, but this is something brand new that we're working with.
And does it last for a long time?
Yes.
Okay. So it wouldn't come up when I mop the floor.
No.
Really, it's like Coca-Cola would,
Right,
obviously.
right.
And you wouldn't want to
And
pour.
yeah, you're constantly sticky if you have Coca-Cola on the floor.
That's not a good idea.
I'd want to mop that up. I wouldn't want to.
So when you go to a job like the warehouse with the water, that's I'm presuming something here that could be totally wrong, but I'm guessing it's not as emotional as some of the other jobs you go to where people's homes are devastated.
Exactly. A situation like that is just a matter of some inconvenience to the employee or the employer or the employees. Nobody wants to be walking around with wet feet, so that's pretty much the only emotional damage there.
Do you know, aside from life and the loss of it from a fire, I think the one thing people are most concerned about with a fire is the photographs. I don't know if I'm right about that, but it seems like that's the one thing. Please, if I have a fire, get the photographs out and safe. Nowadays, you could upload them. I don't know if...
Right. And that's, speaking of that, it's something that, a lot of times, in order to be prepared, and especially where we are here with the hurricanes, and, we could, go in, we're getting ready to go into hurricane season here shortly. And,
Right.
It's something that, very smart to document everything in your home. Not just your, make sure, like photographs, for example, family heirlooms of the,
Yeah, right.
pictures and
all
things.
kinds of things like that.
I mean, you can put them on digitally, preserve them, and nowadays even store them, like on a cloud environment, so that there is no actual place for it to be damaged. But in talking about that, it's very smart to video your home ahead of time, or take documentation
right
as far as your belongings, your personal property. in case of a disaster. One homeowner that we're working with, in the course of several weeks, he was still working on documenting what he had in the home. And, he was telling me, he said, I keep forgetting about this. And and I told him, one thing we do is have them, even though that's not part of our job,
Right.
their personal property, that's something that they take up with their insurance company as far as their personal property. But, as soon as the disaster happens, get a yellow notepad and go room by room listing. It doesn't have to be a yellow one, but get a notepad and start listing room by room all of your belongings, or all of your possessions that are in that room. And there's going to be several things that you forget, and that's why it's important to either take video or pictures of your room, all your personal, your paintings or whatever, so that you have proof of them when it comes time to, if you have to, replace them or rebuild. And that way you know how things were.
And I think some of these local videographers that do weddings and stuff also hire themselves out to do that if you don't know how to do it yourself.
Yeah, there's another guy in town, and that's what he does. He has a service that he documents everything. It's an incredible process that he goes through, and he'll go through it. It's a comprehensive list of, that you could present to your insurance. It's a wonderful, wonderful piece of value, adds value to your, insurance in your home.
Yeah, right.
Because, you have everything right there.
Yeah. Well, obviously, more important than that is the safety of everybody in the house.
Yes.
And that plan to get out.
And that's where, having a plan is so important.
Yeah.
If a fire or a disaster happens while you're home, that's the, how are you going, what's your exit strategy? Where are you going to meet? How do your children know how to get out of the home if the doors are blocked, or if the fire is, in the hallway of their bed, they open the bedroom door and there's a fire. Do they know are they able to get out the window, first of all?
Definitely. That is and you actually bring the things back that can be brought back.
Right.
What you're talking about now is the things that, how many times have we heard those horror stories, but everybody was safe.
Yeah.
And so and you can just imagine what they're going through, saying, well, we're still here, we can rebuild this. And
right. That's the homeowner that we're dealing with. That the last Sunday, she had the family had the tree fall in their home. They are as real as you can get. They as a couple are a wonderful couple. They're not, it's going to be an inconvenience to them, but everybody's okay.
Right.
And that's how they.
Sure.
They've just recently, with those storms and the flooding up in the Live Oak area, her mother was up there, and 4 feet of water in her home.
Oh, my goodness.
So they had to...
4 feet?
4 feet of water is what they were telling me. So they had to evacuate her, get her out of there, make sure she had her medicine.
Wow.
Quickly, because water was rising. She was telling me that the furniture was floating in the living room. So, they've gone through that, so she understands, the emotional impact, and, as long as everybody's okay,
yeah, right,
the rest of it can be rebuilt. We can work on, we can get everything back together.
Right.
And that's something that a lot of times the emotional impact is huge in a disaster, when a disaster happens. And, if you are prepared, if you have a plan ahead of time, it really does alleviate a lot of the stress
and
the problems.
We've talked about this before, and this is just my observation of you and your guys, that you take on maybe the involuntary role of being some kind of a counselor while you're there in their presence. They're devastated, and you're trying to make it better and trying to use even just words, not just architectural words, but
one thing that it's funny you say that, and that's one thing that I've even had to work on. A lot of times I have a smile on my face just naturally, and not intentionally can be listening to someone, talking and have a smile on my face. And that's not very comforting if a person's going through a tragedy.
Really?
You need to
Why?
have, you need to have the, empathy. You need to show that, and that's where.
So you need to practice the anti-smile.
Well, and I mean, we've talked about, me and some close friends have talked about that, and how really that can be make them more uncomfortable. So.
Huh.
Even,
Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, your body language is huge.
But you've had that
dealing with.
You've had that experience where somebody. I mean, you're not feeling anything that makes you.
No, I've never. I've caught myself doing it. As far as agreeing
Now I'm looking
with
at you. I'm
someone.
trying to see what you're saying. I see a smile.
Well,
yeah.
and it.
I just thought you were happy to be here.
Well, I am happy to be here, and we're talking about some pretty tragic things.
Yeah,
so
yeah, right.
I probably shouldn't be smiling. But it's even your.
That's why the camera's the other direction.
There you go. Your body language and is very important when you're dealing with someone that has had a tragedy, and it's important to show and feel the empathy that you're trying to share with them.
Interesting part of your profession. I mean, really, if you you guys have been doing it a long time, but if you ever recruited a newcomer.
Right.
That might be what the conversation is in the truck after you leave. You might want to say to this younger guy, when you take somebody younger, I say, she was talking about the house burning down. And
well, and that's where, we go into a situation, and I look at a disaster, and there is nothing. I haven't seen a disaster that we can't fix, to put it simply.
That's
we
good,
know, even if it means, taking most of it apart and starting over again. So I know in my heart that when we go on the scene, we're going to be able to make everything structurally okay for them. We're going to be able to put them back together.
That's comforting right there.
And a lot of times, this is their world. It's been dumped upside down. They don't.
Yes.
They can't see. There's more impact than just having a house back. It's their home.
Right.
So, it's dealing with that, and it is going to be an inconvenience. And understanding that a homeowner is going to be inconvenienced for a considerable amount of time. I go home and I sleep in my own bed. They're, in another room, or
that's right,
or in a hotel, or whatever the situation is. So, their life is upside down.
Your business is one of those businesses that requires a magnet business card. I'm serious, because I would imagine that people listening right now say, well, I don't really need his services. I've had no fire. And then tomorrow they hear about somebody who did. And,
Right.
and they go, I got the guy's card right on my refrigerator. There it is, right there. That's what I mean. That's because yours is the kind of business that people will remember. What's that guy's name again on the
Right.
radio? What's the
It's
company
Joe.
name? Damage Control Services is what you look up.
That's right.
Do people use phone books anymore?
Yeah, we've we track where we get jobs from. A lot of our jobs are from referrals, friends, or people that we've worked for, refer a friend, or a lot of the networking that I do, and even through the chamber. But I think it was last year, 2 specific jobs from the phone book. So even though we don't really
Still out there.
advertise in the phone book, but people do use that. So
Yeah, sure.
we've received jobs off of Facebook. I stay active with our Facebook account, posting pictures and things.
Right.
And
I think you
know.
told me to smile at one post, didn't you?
yeah, I did.
Larry, smile. Why I don't look like I'm smiling? Somebody
No,
else said
you're
that
not
too.
smiling. You had a serious face there.
Really? I felt like
Yeah.
I just pushed the button and there it was. So what is your number?
My number is area code 352
Uh-huh.
817
Yes.
6574. Our office number is 352-622-5135, and you can reach me also at joe@damageflorida, all spelled out, damageflorida.com.
And damageflorida.com is your website, right?
Yep.
And Rob and Mike, are they out on a job right now?
Yep. Mike is he's finishing up 2 jobs. One here in town, actually where that warehouse is. He's on that job, and then another residential remodel that we're doing. And Rob, he is in Dunellen at the Be Quick.
Oh, the one that you've been working on for a while now, right?
Convenience store that burned down.
How's it coming?
And it's coming along nicely.
Oh, nice.
We've got final coat of paint on the exterior. Drywall's hopefully getting finished today.
Wow.
Be able to paint the interior and get it moving along.
I should go over there, buy something when it's ready to.
That
when
would
it's
be
open,
cool.
And say, I know the guys that fix this for you.
That would be nice.
I'm pretty sure I know exactly where it is that you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. It's easy to find if you're going into Dunellen from here.
Huh. Joe, always interesting to hear how you do what you do and the compassion that is just simply part of your job. That to me, I guess from a human perspective, that's really
a human touch to
nice.
it.
I don't know what word I want to use there.
Comforting.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you, Joe. And I like the smile. I think the smile works.
I like my smile.
Yeah.
Thanks, Larry.
God gave you a natural one. All right, we'll take, maybe not so me, huh? But you. All right, we'll take a little break and we'll be right back.
Damage control. Damage control.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
ABC News Now. I'm Karen Chase. Playing the role of scientist-in-chief, President Obama rolled out a new $100 million brain initiative aimed at mapping the human brain. Researchers